Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast Speak to Impact. And today we have a fun guest, Jason Rogers. Now, Jason, how did we meet? Do you remember?
We met at a pizza place. Um, I saw on Eventbrite a networking event for speakers. I think it was speakers,
Yeah.
and I was like, I want to go. And my wife, she wasn't working that day, and she's like, I'll come along. So we went to this pizza parlor, and we started networking with all these people. And you were across from my wife, and you and Andy just got along great.
That's awesome.
And that's how we met.
I love it. I love it. All right. So we're going to listen to you give us a speech today.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you evaluation at the end of it, kind of like at Toastmasters. And so, is there anything particular you want to work on that you want me to watch for, or do you just want whatever comes up?
You can do the Toastmasters thing of numbering my ums if you want to do that.
Okay.
Hopefully it'll be interesting enough that you'll just forget to number them.
Yes.
Um, and then anything else that comes to mind that you're
Okay.
like, because you probably know better than I do as the expert here of what to
Mhm.
look out for.
All right. I will
So,
do that. Are
okay,
you ready?
I am. I'm ready.
Good. All right. Cool. All right. You may begin.
Okay, so I have never really fit in the educational mold. And you know what I mean, like the textbooks, neat, like um, desk rows, a teacher in the front.
Oh.
And I have tried a lot to really fit in that mold. But the more that I tried, the more I felt like I was a failure at learning. And but I love to learn. Like I love learning a lot. But my way of learning is very different than what the educational system does. And if you've ever felt behind or scattered, or you're just not getting it in the way that others seem to, you're not alone in that. Like learning, I found over the years that learning isn't just about the grades or how fast you can recall something. It's all about the vision you have, the desire, and the curiosity that you have within you. And that's how my journey began. And maybe it's how yours begins again, too. Learning does not need to be hard. And even when it is hard, it can be fun. Today, I will share three core elements to learning everything and anything that you want. And understanding these three elements will help you organize your learning process and empower you to take back the responsibility of your own education. All right, I call the three areas of learning the the triad of learning. Okay, they are story, symbols, and form. Um, Stories are the easiest thing to remember for most people. Um, every piece of knowledge begins with a story. And when you're sitting in class, confused about why something matters or why you're being asked to learn it, the answer often lies in the story itself. The story answers the questions like who discovered this? What problems were they trying to solve? How might this apply in my life? So those who created the thing to begin with, the scientists, the artists, the inventors, had their own stories and and those stories were full of questions, and they had vision and desire. They were driven by their own imaginations. And when we can connect and relate their story with ours, we develop our own vision of why this knowledge matters. And when we know why it matters, then we can develop a burning desire. So in college, I had taken this accounting class for 3 times, and I was in the office of my accounting teacher, and he said something to me. He said that I needed to take more responsibility of my own education, and what he meant by that was I needed to study more. I needed to actually show up to his tests, and like I was in class every single day. Like every single day there was a class, I was there even when I was sick. But I struggled with reading the textbooks. I have an anxiety, a trauma behind textbooks, and we won't go into why that is, but uh, they terrify me. They anger, like I get so angry when I sit down and read them, because they're so complicated and they don't need to be. Okay, that's all I'm going to say about those. Uh, and so I'm sitting there, and he says that, but I took it differently than what he intended it. Um, I needed to take responsibility of my own education, and he was 100% right on that fact. So I started a business. I started selling skateboards so I could apply everything that he was teaching in my business. Um, and so I learned accounting, but I didn't pass the class even the fourth time because I was so busy applying what he was teaching me that I didn't have time to take his tests and to basically jump through the hoops. Um, but the reason why I share this story with you is because I connected the story of accounting to my own story. I finally understood why it mattered to me. Now I want to share with you the second symbol, or the second principle, the second key element is symbols. Symbols represent knowledge. Since the dawn of time, humans have used symbols and sounds to pass on knowledge. Long before written language, long before textbooks, classrooms, people scratched lines into like cave walls. Um, they told stories through images and handprints. Symbols became the way we stored knowledge and passed it on. So the symbols, the words, and the sounds, these are the building blocks of every subject. But sometimes they're a foreign language, or at least they feel like a foreign language. And if you've ever had a learning difficulty like I do, they can feel impossible to master. So when I was in 8th grade, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and later in my life, I found also I have dyslexia and an auditory processing disorder. It's funny how I have a hard time saying that. It's kind of ironic. Um, so symbols and sounds is often where it gets messy for me because they just don't stick. Um, and I'll be honest, this is the part where I stumble the most when it comes to learning. So I forget things fast, and I need more repetition than most people. One read through is not enough. One explanation won't cut it. So it takes a lot of repetition and immersion without judgment and without shaming. My inner critic gets loud when I make space to learn the symbols. It says things like, "Why are you not getting this? Were you even paying attention? You get you got you got it wrong again. It's obvious this is something you are just not talented enough for. You should find something else to do." And I'm sure your inner critic probably feels that way too, or someone's actually said it to you, which is even worse. It takes, for me, I have to remind myself, and I have to take deep breaths. I have to remind myself how much I desire to know and why this matters to me. Reviewing something again and again and again and again is not failure. It is the process. one of my favorite authors. His name is Viktor Frankl, and he said, "He who has a why can bear almost any how." And I'm going back to story here because when you can connect with your story, it builds that desire, and that desire is what fuels your process of learning the symbols and the sounds. Okay. The next thing is curiosity. Oh, sorry. Hang on, guys. The next thing is form. So everything has a form. When after you understand the stories behind it, the principles, after you understand the symbols and the sounds, and you now need to put it into motion, right? And that we use the word form in many cases, whether it be you're learning accounting, you're literally filling out accounting forms. You know, you have tax forms that the government sends you, right? But then let's say you're learning karate. They literally call karate, like they call them katas, or they call them forms. You know, you're literally moving your body in a certain rhythm and form, right? Or I'm trying to think of another area of knowledge here. This is where I probably would point to the audience and ask them, like, so Kelly, what's
Perfect.
something else that you love to learn, or that
Cooking.
something? Cooking. Recipes are forms.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing? Like no matter what it is, there's a form to it, and you have to know the form. And in many cases, what helps the most when it comes to learning the form is having a coach or having a teacher there to guide you through the forms. Um, and yeah, and that is the three key elements to learning anything. And I'm running out of time. So before my time is up, I really want to share with you my vision. I want to create a movement for all those who struggled in school. I want you to know that you are not broken. The system is. And it is time to take back the responsibility of your own education. I know learning has become a scary thing for some of you, and there is a lot of shame and guilt built up around it. And that's why I've written down the healing process I had to go through as well as my learning process. In my book, um, the working title right now is For the Love of Learning. And I'm not sure if that's going to be the final name for it, but that's the book. And I've also um, I also put together a team, and I'm putting together a game console. So I this weekend I just finished the prototype for you, Kelly. So this right here is the prototype of the game console. So this right here, I work closely with a company called Simply Smart, and they are providing all of the videos. They don't have games yet, but they're going to work on developing games for it as well. Um, and anyway, so this is uh, I'll sure that's basically it. So my call to action is the things I'm working on right now are still in development, but I have a pre-order page for those who want to pre-order the book or pre-order the um, the game console. I encourage you to go to my my pre-order page. And thank you so much for listening, everyone, and for coming along on this journey with me. And I hope that I've inspired you today. And I invite you to come along on this movement with me to take back your responsibility of your own education. Thank you.
Awesome. I love it. I am going to do the feedback part
Thank
now.
you.
And I did count the audible pauses. I made a little just thingy to make
Thank you.
hash marks. You're welcome. That there were a lot of ums. I counted 12 ums.
Okay.
And just so you know, the first time I gave a prepared speech, I said so 36 times in 6 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
So that is a lot of so's. And you only had 5.
Yay.
Yay. Do you know what a double clutch is? I think
No.
that's a Toastmasters term. What I count it as when you say a word twice. So you'll say a word and then you'll pause for a second and then say the word again, or you'll just repeat it randomly, like for no actual reason. So you had
Okay.
10 double clutches.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, that was a big one for you. And then like you said, like 4 times. And
Okay.
I started counting your swallows. Like, when people get nervous, they swallow a lot. So
Yeah.
I counted 7 swallows before I stopped counting them because then I was getting really
Okay.
into what you were saying. So,
Yay.
so
Yes, I did it.
yay! And there's so many things to be cognizant of when speaking that, you could worry yourself to death and never get your message out. So just having the numbers is good so that later when you get better, you can go back and say, wow, look how many fewer I have of these. So I don't want you to obsess over any number of things that I counted, okay?
Thank you. I will not.
Okay, good. All right. Your first word was so. And you know how I feel about that,
Yeah.
Jason.
All right. I have to work on that.
Almost everyone does it. Literally, almost everyone does it. Like 90% of people, when they come on the podcast, their first word is so. When they stand up at my speaking practice things, their first word is so. It's a thing. I don't like it. I wish people would stop, but I know it's a thing. And I think a speech is so much more powerful if the first word is not so. So I just want
Okay.
people to be aware of that they're kind of ripping their audience off of a powerful beginning if they start with the word so. Okay.
Thank you.
You're
I will
welcome.
be consciously aware of that.
I
That's
think
one thing that I'm like, okay, I can avoid at least that.
yes, that's easy. It's easy to remember because
That's
it's the
easy.
first word of your speech.
Yes.
I thought that your opening was really good though.
Thank
I
you.
don't fit into, you just started by bearing your soul. I loved that. I think that's a beautiful way to begin because it instantly builds connection with people. And I love that you put your hand on your heart when you were saying, but my, or how it happened for me. I don't remember what your word was, but you put your hand on your heart to show, it was you. Anytime you put your hand on your heart, you're subconsciously connecting with the audience to their heart. So it is actually a really good thing to do.
Okay.
There is this principle in speaking of the box. And the box is the area of your body from your hips to your shoulders. So, like, it's really a rectangle. And so, from your
Okay.
hips to your shoulders, you should never have your hands there unless it's for a very specific reason.
So it needs to be like in this area.
Yeah.
It's like outside of this area.
But guess what?
Always.
You were perfect with that. You didn't fidget your hands.
Yay.
Most people fidget their hands in front of their stomach.
Oh, I do too. When I'm so nervous, I do this.
Yeah, but you didn't. And really, pretty much the only time you did put your hand here was on purpose to touch your heart. And a few times you gestured, and it was appropriate for it to be in the box. So that's actually kind of crazy that you're naturally so good at that.
Oh, well, I have practiced a lot. Like, I have been a part of Toastmasters for a number of years.
Yes.
But I've never actually really sought out speaking opportunities.
Oh.
I've just practiced in the quiet of my own home.
Well, good job. That is one thing you don't have to overcome, getting in the box. So good job with that one. My cat is trying to walk on my keyboard right now. I'm trying to block her in case you wonder what I'm doing. Okay.
That's okay.
She's crazy. She's hilarious. When you said 3, and you did it multiple times where you talked about 3 things and you always held your 3 fingers up. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Always do that.
Okay,
I love that.
I was worried that that was not a good thing.
No,
So
it
thank you
is
for
a good
validating
thing.
that.
Yes. It's always good to support your words with your gestures if it
Okay.
makes sense.
Okay. Would it be more impactful if I went like this, 1, 2, 3, and then went to like 1, and then 2 and 3, or is
That
this works? This is
that
better.
could be a secondary thing. So when
Okay.
you're talking about them, so you've laid them out in the air in their minds, 1, 2, and 3. So then
And
when
that way
you,
I could walk to that part of the
oh
stage
yes,
while I'm talking about it.
that would be really good too.
Can that help?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, on a real stage,
Okay.
not a tiny little window. Yeah, that would be
Yes.
good. Yeah, I like that. Good question.
Okay.
I did notice that you read several where you were looking.
I was reading.
I could tell a
Yes.
lot of the times you were looking, but that will
I
get.
was nervous.
I know it'll get better as you memorize, and you don't ever really have to memorize. You just have to remember your main points. But as you get
Yeah.
more comfortable sharing this speech, you won't even want to read it because you'll be fine. So that comes
Yeah.
with time. So I'm not worried about that. When you said you didn't want to go into why you had trauma with textbooks, I felt like you were ripping us off
Really? Okay.
because
I
you
was
brought
worried
it
that I
up.
was going to take people too long
No,
to
like
explain that.
you offered it and then you yanked it back.
Okay, I will do it.
Yes,
I will jump into that boat with people.
yes. And it doesn't have to be long, but at least give us some reason why you have trauma with textbooks.
Would you like me to tell you right now?
Yes, tell me right now.
Yes. It's because I sit down with the textbook,
Yeah.
um, and um, and I'm reading it, and then it's coming up to something that I need to know, but then it doesn't tell me. I'm like, why? Where is this information? Why is it
Oh
not here?
no.
Where is it? And it's in this bubble in the next chapter. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Why is it there?
That's
Come to find out,
terrible.
it's like I you research it, come to find out, and it gets worse with every edition of a textbook. Like the sixth edition, seventh edition. Don't get me started about accounting seventh edition. Oh my goodness! Like, ah,
Yes, definitely share that in your talk. That's good. Um,
I get a little too passionate about it,
I
though. I
think
think
that's
I
funny.
do.
It's okay to get
Okay, good.
passionate in a speech. It's actually
Okay,
it's actually good. It's desirable.
okay.
I
Thank
noticed
you.
you started to say the word angrify, and that made me so happy because I mean I know that's not a word, but what a cute word, angrify.
Angrify.
You stopped. You went angrify. And then you stopped, and I was like, "Oh, that's a fun word. I wish you'd said it, but I know it's not a word. So it's probably good you didn't say it.
Like,
But I
well,
thought
no,
that was
I
cute.
feel like it's good. Like if you felt it would be funny, then I will
Yes.
definitely put it in. That's one of the issues with my auditory disability is my brain has a hard time recalling things,
Yes.
and it will mix words, and it will fill in words with other things that are kind of like it but not
Yes.
quite, and so it's
You know
it's
what?
it's a thing.
I think if you do this again, go ahead and say angrify, and then say that. Say
Okay.
something like, "I realize that's not a real word, but that's part of my auditory processing. I combine parts of words to create new words sometimes." So you're welcome for
Yes,
angrify. I don't know.
you're
I
welcome.
think you could make that a
Yes.
really cute thing.
Oh, I love that idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, let's see. I wanted you to elaborate on and emotionalize the accounting class story.
Okay.
I thought you could have really brought us in and made us feel some stuff, but you just kind of breezed through it a little bit.
Okay.
I would love that to go deeper. Tell us how you were feeling, tell us some more details, and then kind of celebrate that you went and actually started a business, and oh well, you failed the class for the fourth time, but you grew this skateboarding business and it was awesome. So you know
Yeah.
do I would say play that whole story up a little bit
Okay.
more ups and downs with that one
Okay.
because
I
it's a
will do
great
that.
story.
Thank you.
I love it. When you said, I just wrote this to ask you, when you said symbols were like a fourth language, I was thinking,
Foreign,
oh, foreign
foreign
language.
language.
That
I said
makes
it weird.
more sense.
That's
Foreign
my
language.
that's my auditorial thing coming in again.
All right, good. All right, that's fine. Oh, you said this is where I stumble the most. And I love that you got so real and authentic with your struggles with symbols. I think that's super connective with an audience to
Thank you.
just bare your soul to them again. I loved that part.
Could I rant for a few seconds on that
Yeah,
particular thing?
go for it.
Like when it comes to learning symbols, the teachers and the systems out there do not make it easy. Like
Mm,
they're kind of like, you're on your own to figure that out. I'm like, why? Like this is such a crucial thing. There should be flashcards that are required for every student
yeah,
to have. There should be there should be some form of easy way to just review
it's a
and
good idea.
immerse, but there isn't. Anyway, I'm done. Sorry.
You could make one.
That's one of the reasons why the game console a thing, because
Yes.
that is the one and best way to immerse someone is to make a game about it,
Hmm.
and the game really helps. No, like the endorphins that one feels. Like, have you ever played Mario?
Yes.
And you go to that first box and you
Yep.
jump and he bumps his head on that question thing
Yep.
and you hear that sound, that do 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 do,
Yep.
that's memorized in your brain,
Oh
and you didn't
yeah,
even have to try it. Like video
that's
games are so
true.
powerful in helping you remember symbols and sounds,
I love
and
that.
that's why I'm doing the game console thing.
That's such a good idea. I'm glad you're doing that.
Thanks.
All right. When you started talking about your inner critic, I wanted you to not look happy and friendly anymore.
Oh,
I would like your
okay.
face to go more with being a critic because
I love
you
that.
kept your normal smiley face while you were saying these mean things, and I was like, well, that doesn't really fit. I wish he would like step into this personality of this really critical jerk. Maybe even change your voice a
Yeah,
little bit, make your face not smiling, and then maybe add some dramatic pauses so people could really sit and think about that for a second because we all have the critic, and that would be a really good time for some long pauses and some mean faces.
I love it. Yes,
Awesome.
yes, you're amazing at this, Kelly.
Thank
Oh
you.
my goodness.
I love it. I love what I do so much. It's the best. Let's see. Three agains is good. Oh, you said again. And when you read something and you can't learn it, you read it again and again and again. And it's okay. I loved that you said again so many times. That was
Thank you.
perfect.
I was thinking about keeping it at three, but then I'm like, no, I want to emphasize this.
Yes,
So I'm glad you liked that.
you have good instincts. You
Thanks.
always follow your instincts on stage. That's really good. I like that when you were in the symbol part, you reconnected to the story part by saying, "I'm going back to story for a sec." When you were talking about Viktor Frankl, that's really good. If you can refer to previous parts of your presentation, it helps people build more neural pathways for what you're teaching them, so they remember things
Yes.
better. So by you verbally creating a connection back to story in their brain, you just made a neural connection, a neural pathway for them.
Cool. Nice.
Right? Good job. Let's see. Great. Oh, it was sometimes I can't read my own handwriting, but I figured it out. It was a great idea to have the audience share forms of forms, like having me do cooking, right? That was really good. Audience participation is amazing, especially for people with ADHD, which I will tell you, I also have ADHD. Um, I actually, when I took the test at the doctor's office, I scored higher than the chart went. So it's just,
Oh
I
wow.
get it. It's a
Okay.
struggle. But
It is.
ADHD audiences especially need little things like that where you ask them
Okay.
questions and they get to participate because their minds wander so easily. So good job doing that.
Okay. Cool.
And I love that you thought of it in the moment. like I could see the idea come into your head and then you speak it out loud because you hadn't planned that. It was
I did.
just on the fly. So once again, you've got really good instincts. Follow your
Thank
instincts
you.
always.
Thank you.
Um, I don't want you to. I mean, no matter where you're speaking, and I know with me, we weren't on a time schedule, but you said I'm running out of time.
Yes.
When you do that on stage, it makes the audience get anxiety.
Oh,
Like
okay. I don't want to do that.
what the thought that goes through their head is, oh no, there's probably something really important I needed to hear him say today, and now he's not going to say it because he's running out of time. Dang it! And then they get mad and they disconnect.
Yeah.
So never say you're running
Okay.
out of time.
Okay.
And then my last comment is good bookends. Do you know what that means? I love bookends with the speech. Something you mentioned at the beginning, you wrap up with at the end. And yours was
Okay.
take back responsibility for your own education. Because you said it at the beginning with that one teacher that told you that, and then you ended with
Hmm.
it. So a good bookend is really satisfying to the audience. It just kind of brings
Awesome.
everything back around and like puts a bow on it. And then they're like, oh, so good job with that.
Thank you. I didn't even realize that was the thing. I was like,
See,
thanks.
you're just naturally good at it. That is awesome. Yeah, some people they really want to be
Like,
speakers, but they don't have the natural tendencies or
mhm.
abilities. You've already got most of those, so it's going to be easy for you.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Well, I mean, like I have studied it in my closet for a number of years now. So what once was heard is now just nature to me probably, and that's what's happening.
That's really good.
So
Good
I
job.
don't want to just take credit of like, oh, I'm just talented at this. It's like I'm not. I
We'll
haven't
practice.
I haven't really been talented about anything in my life. Like because of my disabilities, I have had to struggle and learn and over again. And what it's become a strength of mine really because I when I set my mind to something and I have clear vision of what I want and I set my desires, I will go at it and just go and go and no matter how painful or frustrating or scary it might be, I just go
That
and
is amazing.
that's helped me.
I think that's a skill.
Yeah,
You don't have the give up gene.
I don't have the give up gene. That's right.
I don't either. I love people that don't have the give up gene.
Good.
I think that is a huge gift to not get that gene. I don't know if it's a gene. I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is either.
Awesome. All right. Do you have any questions about your speech for me? Things that came to you?
Oh, man, where do you see this speech? Like,
Oh,
what events are going to be like? Yeah, I want him to come speak.
that
Like,
is absolutely a question for ChatGPT. First of all, I would
okay,
I would actually put the speech into ChatGPT, whatever you have written, and say, where can I give this speech that would have the best people to hear it?
okay,
That's what I would say. First of all, ask ChatGPT. Schools, I think would be good. Maybe even homeschooling groups,
yeah, homeschooling groups for sure.
because usually their kids also don't fit the mold, and so they might be struggling with things like that. Um, Maybe like local organizations where they have teachers, parents, PTA meetings. I don't know.
Okay,
Um,
I,
Definitely
I kind of,
GPT though.
I, I'm afraid of. I kind of rap a lot about school. Like school, I love teachers. Teachers are doing the best they can,
Yeah,
and school administrators are also doing the best they can. But I'm afraid that when I rant about it, like the textbook thing, or or the teacher that's like, "Hey, you just need to study more,"
yeah.
I'm afraid that they're going to be like offended by that. It's like, no, I don't want him to come speak. It's Is that a thing? Is that going to happen, or am I just being over cautious?
Here's my thought on that, and it may not be accurate. If someone is offended by that, it means that they feel called out because they deep down know they're doing it wrong. People
Oh,
only get
okay.
offended if you're right about something they're doing wrong. So,
That is interesting.
like, if you go up and call somebody a banana, you banana, is that going to hurt your feelings? No, because you
No.
have absolutely no guilt about thinking you're a banana because it's so far from what you're thinking and feeling and what your identity is. But like if you go up to somebody who's like overweight and say, "Wow, you're way too big to be doing that." They're going to get offended because they were thinking it themselves. So
Yeah.
that's my opinion on that.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. I don't think you should worry about it. And if they do get offended, then maybe they need to hear you. Maybe they need to make a change, right?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's okay to call people
And
out.
and it's a good space for it too. Now that I think about it, like now I'm thinking out loud, because their peers are around them
Hmm.
and they're getting offended, and they're like, uh, they realize that they need to make a change, and not only that, but now they can't hide it,
Yeah.
and because the peers now know,
Yeah.
and they see themselves doing it, and they're like, oh no, everyone else knows now that what I'm doing isn't right, so I need to change. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right. But
And you're offering them a
still
solution.
scary.
It is scary. That's
That's true.
true. But speakers, we have to do scary things sometimes. It's okay.
Yeah.
You can do it. If you're called to do it, you can do it. That's what I feel. If you have,
I
that's what I
definitely
feel.
feel called to do this. Oh my goodness. Like my what's interesting is in the last like 3 months,
Yeah.
my wife and I were like, we want to make a quantum leap in our life.
Nice.
Let's set a goal to make $2 million in 3 months from now, and do it where it fulfills everything that we want to do in our life. So so we sat down and thought through, it's like, how can we do this? How can we really do this? And this is part of that plan. And ultimately what it did for us is it helped us to just really do what we were called to do. It's like, and this is part of it, so
That's exciting. Okay.
what where do I go from here? Like, what's the next steps?
Um,
I have a list. You had that form that I filled out,
yes.
and so I have that form, and I turned what needs to be improved on into a list of things I need to work on. So
Oh,
so I'm
good.
working on those things right now.
That's great. I love
So
that.
getting the website set up
Yes.
appropriately, setting up my funnels and
Yes.
things like that.
Here, my number one thing is make sure your speech is ready to go. Make sure you know who your audience is and what their core problem is and how your speech solves it. Once
Yeah.
those things are figured out, the rest of it is a lot easier because when people are trying to do a one sheet and a website and they're not exactly clear on what their message is supposed to be or exactly what their audience's problem is, then they usually have to go back and redo it over and over. So that's why I say start with the core problem your audience has and work from there. That's the center of the circle.
Okay.
Everything else,
Okay.
it all hinges on that.
Okay.
So make sure
Do
you
you feel like I hit that core problem
I
with
feel
my
like
speech?
you're I feel like you um I feel like you have the problem but not exactly the audience.
Okay.
I feel like you
Because
need to
my
drill in on
audience,
that.
I feel like my audience is two different types of people. One, people like me who have struggled through it, but still have enough desire to learn that they're still pushing through all of that insecurity
Yeah.
that that they've developed. Or it's
Yeah.
a parent for a student or a child that they know that child is struggling, and they know they need to do something, but they have no idea why.
Yeah.
Like basically my mom.
Those two audiences I think have different enough needs. You might have two versions.
Okay.
of the speech, which is okay. You can. I
That
have,
is
like, my first really big speech that I spoke all over the world with, I had different audiences every time I gave it. It was on the manifesting formula. So
uh
sometimes I was speaking to business people, so I talked about manifesting clients and money. Sometimes I was talking to, just people that were there for personal development. So then I talked about manifesting goals and, personal development things. So it's okay to have different versions of your talk that you can tailor parts of it to that specific audience. So most of it is the same, but you'll have some things that you just talk to the people that have the struggle, and then you'll say slightly different things to people who are in charge of the people that have the trouble, right? So
okay. Yeah.
it's okay to have two versions of it.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You're
I,
welcome.
I think that's all my questions for now.
Okay, good. All right. Well,
Yeah.
then, before we go, I know some people watching or hearing this podcast will be like, I want in on that. I want that console. I need that for my kid. Right. So if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, find out more about the console, where would we send them?
Go to gatewaygears.com/pre-order.
Nice. And you'll have information about the game, and they can sign up and get on your email list for when it comes out, things like that.
That's right. That's right. Yes. So my day job, I'm a marketing consultant. So when you go to Gateway Gears, you won't see anything about education. This is a passion project.
Nice.
So you want to go to gatewaygears.com/pre-orders,
Awesome.
and that's where you'll find this.
All right. And I'll put that in the show notes. So if you're driving and you couldn't write that down, don't worry. You can look it up in the show notes when you get home.
Okay.
All right, Jason, this was awesome. I loved
It
it.
was.
Thanks for coming
I
on.
learned so much. Thank
Good.
you.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I'm excited for what you're doing and wish you all the success in the world.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, guys. Well, that is it for this episode of Speak to Impact. We will see you next time. Thanks for joining us. And go check out Jason Rogers at gatewaygears.com/pre-orders. If you want to get a free workbook to help you figure out what your message is, go to Speaking Coach Kelly/workbook and download my free workbook. All right.
It's a great workbook, guys.
Thank you. I'm glad you like it. I love that workbook. It has helped lots of people. Yeah. Okay. Well, have an amazing week, and I will see you guys next time.